And everyone, and thank you for joining me again today with Breaking the Silence Together podcast. For those of you that don't know who I am or it's the first time listening to my podcast, my name is Jeannie Perez, and I am the founder of You're Not Alone, which is an organization that supports mental illness and drug and addiction with professional services, tools and resources, or just an ear if that's what they just need, someone to talk to, someone to listen to them. We are here for that. This podcast is tied into that organization, so the only thing that we're going to talk about on this podcast would have something to do with mental illness or an addiction. It's tied in as one. It's just hopefully that we're able to reach out and maybe someone will be listening to this podcast. Maybe they don't use social media, they just a podcast, or they just listen to FM radio, because we are also on there in a lot of other major platforms. We're hoping to reach someone that really needs this help and doesn't know the first step or how to go about it, or maybe just someone listening that knows someone that's in this situation and they can forward our information over to this individual to help them out and figure it out where we can meet them at in their journey. With that being said, today's podcast is going to be about how do we feel. Well, let me go with the title first, because I know sometimes I jump into things and then people need to wrap their head around it before they realize what I'm talking about, to make sure this is something that's going to resonate with them and whether they really want to listen to this, so they're going to get something out of it. It's functioning of every day. It's functioning just another form of suppression. And what I mean by that is every day, I know a lot of us, we just function on high mode, but we're just falling apart inside. So if this is something that you can relate to, if this is something that interests you, or maybe you know someone that's dealing with this and you want to sit here and really get the information that I'm going to be giving and sharing today, then this podcast is for you. Like I said, it doesn't have to be an individual that's dealing with these situations that we talk about, but it could be someone that might be knowing someone that's dealing with this, or is already a caregiver to someone that's dealing with this, or just an individual that wants to know a little bit more about what goes on in the life of someone with mental illness or someone that has an addiction, how their day-to-day is, because it's real. And this is what my podcast is, just to let everyone know that mental illness is real, addiction is real, and that's what we're going to talk about. Sometimes my podcast is raw because I really do get into it, and I just really say true facts. I don't sugarcoat anything, and like I said, all of my episodes are either something that someone in my community is going through on a daily basis. It could be something that one of my clients brought to my attention that maybe said, go ahead and share this on your podcast, Jeannie. I'm sure that if you were able to help me with it, or I was able to get help on this, I'm sure there's someone else out there that can use this information. Unfortunately, we try to cramp so much in the 30 or 45 minutes that I get to do this live or this podcast. But I know that there's so much more information that entails to all of my episodes. So if you're ever listening to one of my episodes and all of your answers are not being fulfilled, or one of my episodes might have opened up another question and you want more information, please reach out to us. My website has tons of ways that you can get a hold of me. All of my resources, like my 24/7 hotline is monitored 24 hours, 7 days a week. Our email address is also on our website, and that's monitored 24/7 by an individual, not a chat box or not an AI. It is being monitored by an actual person. And everything is live. We have a live chat. We have our phone number you can call us on. We have an email address you can call us on. And if you don't know my website and you really need it because you really want to get on there, maybe get down, really download some of our tools and resources, or if you just want to reach out, it's you'renotalone.online. And all the information that you need will be on that site. And if it isn't, reach out to me and I will get you what you need. All right, so let's get started with today's episode. And just want to start out by saying, I think it's always important that we take a pause and that we take a breather. I know that anyone that knows me, I kind of repeat myself on that because that's something that I really, really believe in. I do that for myself, my clients, the community. Whenever I'm talking to them, I always say, you got to take a breather. And I don't mean that in a bad way. You just got to pause with yourself every once in a while, and especially when we're in this overwhelmed, world with dealing with our situations on a daily basis, whether it's mental illness, addiction, stress, anxiety, life in general. Sometimes we just have to take a pause, and just really inhale in. And right now I'm going to tell you to inhale in, and when you're inhaling in, I want you to say, I am allowed to fall apart. I am allowed to fall apart. And then I want you to exhale very slowly. And when you do, I want you to say, my value isn't tied into any of my performances. My value isn't tied into any of my performances. And the reason why I'm saying that, because some of us, we get into this mode, which I call almost like a flight mode, a fawn mode, where we're going so fast and we don't even realize that we're doing half of the time the things that we're doing when we're in a flight mode, when our nervous system is in a flight mode. And we don't realize that, everyone is thinking, like in order for you to be functioning, or people to say, oh yeah, that's what you're supposed to do it, like you're showing up to work, you're smiling, but you're falling apart inside, you're meeting your deadlines, or you're just holding it down all the time, all the responsibilities, but what they're not really seeing is really what's going on inside of you. It's the sleepless nights. Who knows when was the last time you really, really got a good night's sleep? Or who knows when was the last time you really slept at all? But they're not seeing that. Or you really panicking behind these smiles that you're always showing, but deep inside you're just panicking with every step, every motion, every movement that you do every day. You're just panicking, but they're not realizing that. Self-medicating yourself just to be able to function in this high, overwhelmed emotions, actions that you're doing every day. You're self-medicating yourself so that you'll be able to smile, but you're dying inside, or meet that deadline before you really have a breakdown. And it's just a burnout. Most of the time it's us burning ourselves out, emotional, the numbness, that we just fall into this overwhelmed, high functional, you become this high functional person because you want to be able to fit in, or because you don't want them to realize what you're really going through, so you just put in this act, and you just start doing everything. Everything is acts, yes, and showing up with this big smile, or just doing everything that someone else wants you to do, just so they don't really realize that what's going on with you inside, you're falling apart. And I get it. I know that most of the time, a lot of the times when a lot of us are in this kind of mode that we don't really realize it, or, we're so used to the world, our circle, seeing us in this type of way, most of the time it is because we were always the one handling everything, or we're always the one doing the peace, making the peace with other people, or arguing, or something's falling apart for someone else. We're always stepping in and putting in the peace, but at the end of the day, we're the ones that's falling apart, but we're trying to help someone else, because we try to cover up what's really going on with us within. Or, you're just the one that's always been the head of everything. It might have been in your home, maybe when you were growing up, you were the oldest sibling, in an unsafe environment. So you've been in that mode for so many years, you don't know how, or to you, it's just an everyday thing now. You're just so used to being in that mode of protecting others, that even though you're falling apart inside and you're crying in silence when they don't see you, and things are just really not the way you want them, but you're not showing it, people are thinking that you're okay, so they're not going to ask you, hey, is anything going on, because you're not showing it. You're always being that stronger one than anyone else in your circle. You're the one that's always trying to help the others, So sometimes, we feel as though when we get into that motion that everything is okay with us because, we're able to smile when we don't want to, or bring the peace into someone else's life, or just always show up when we're asked, or always be this other person out in public. So sometimes that always we start really believing in that, and we start thinking that, oh, I'm okay because I'm functional. I'm okay because I'm doing this. I'm okay because I'm meeting that deadline. Yeah, I'm okay. But really, you're not. You're not okay. Even though you're getting up every morning and you're running to work, you're going to wherever you were invited that day, you're meeting up with your friends, you're doing everything that you're told to do, which you're asking from you, and even more, because you're overwhelming yourself. So you always want to do more than what is expected from you, because you want to make sure that what's going on with you inside never comes out to the light. So, if this is you, I just want you to pause, because you are not doing okay. You are not healthy right now. This is not healthy healing, because you really need to ask yourself, you really need to ask yourself, how do I feel when I'm alone? Do I feel safe when I'm alone? Do I cry when I'm alone? Am I really happy when I smile? When I seen that picture that I just took, I was smiling in it, but was you really feeling that way when you took that picture? When someone in your circle, or a family member, or someone that you're with all the time asks you to do something, do you really do it because you want to do it? Or why do you do it? I want you to just really ask yourself those questions and see what your real answer is, and be honest with yourself. Because if you're saying, no, I'm not happy, but I smiled, no, I really don't want to be around so-and-so every time they ask me to be there, no, I'm not happy when I'm alone, and yes, I do cry all the time when I'm alone, or whenever there's silence in my life, I cry. If you're saying yes to all this, you're not doing okay right now, and you really, really need to be honest with yourself, really come in tune with yourself, and realize that you need to put yourself now first, and you really need to just open up. And it doesn't matter who sees what's going on with you. It doesn't matter what anyone says. You are the one that matters. You are the one that's important, not them. You really, really have to be honest with yourself and ask yourself, what's happiness to me? What's healing to me? What can I do for myself to make where I'm going to really smile with happiness? I'm not going to cry in silence. I'm going to enjoy being around others. What is it going to take for you to feel that type of healing? This is the type of stuff that I want you to ask yourself. And be honest with yourself. And if you feel as though you need someone else to talk to because you can't wrap your head around it, or because even though you've heard what I just said to you, and I walked you through a couple of steps that, maybe you can try to do on your own time, you still feel as though like, okay, I know I'm crying, or I don't want to do what they asked me to do, but I do it anyway. I'm smiling when I don't want to smile. But I still feel as though I'm okay. I still feel like I'm okay. You might need to just open up to someone and talk it over with someone else. Because I know there's someone in your circle, I'm sure there's someone that you love that really, really wants to help you, and they would be more than happy to hear you out. And maybe you both can bring it together and really make sense of it and realize what type of help you can get to heal healthy. Because really, it is so important, because your nervous system has you in this survival mode, and it's going to continue to put you in this survival mode until you start feeding and living in a different way, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Because our brains and our nervous system feeds off of what we feed in. If you can understand that. If you can, what I meant by that is our thoughts, our doing, our actions are all stored in our brain. And as we overflow our brain leaks out to our nervous system. Nervous system reacts on what we have stored. So if you start getting help, you start getting counseling or whatever it is that you think the healing would be for you, you start seeing life in a different way. So you start feeding in different actions, different emotions, different thoughts. And your brain will start resetting. And when your brain starts resetting, your nervous system will reset with it. Which means it won't continue to put you in a frozen survival mode. It won't continue to put you in that survival mode that you're in, because you're holding back on this trauma on your own. And you don't want anyone to know about it. So you're just really isolating yourself mentally and physically. And we just really have to understand that whatever we do to ourselves, it stores in our brain and our nervous system, reacts. And that's where our emotions and our everyday actions will start to happen. And sometimes we can't really cope around our thoughts. Sometimes we start thinking a lot and we get overwhelmed. And that's when things start happening. We start hurting ourselves. If it's affecting you mentally really bad. If it starts putting you in a bad place where you might fall into some type of addiction, you might start medicating yourself. You might start doing different things just to numb yourself, just to be able to function, in a daily basis, to even deal with this on your own, because you're dealing with it on your own. So you're closing it all in. So even for yourself to deal with what you're closing yourself in with, you have to almost phase yourself into it. And sometimes, like I said, that'll wind up hurting yourself, or, we start feeding and self-medicating ourselves, or falling into deeper, stronger addictions. So that's why I said sometimes we just need to really, really reach out for help, talk to others, open up. It doesn't matter. There's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing to be ashamed of. If you need help with some kind of emotion, some kind of mental illness, just get the help. Don't worry about what anyone says or anyone thinks. They do not matter. You matter. And there's nothing to be embarrassed about. There's nothing to be ashamed about. Everyone in a lifetime needs some type of help. And again, whether it's an illness or an addiction, there is no shame. Please just reach out for the help that you need. Open up, get your help. Start living the life that you want to live. But you can only do that. You have to make the first step. And that is reaching out either to a loved one, someone that you know that you can talk to, or just pick up the phone or get on a site and contact an organization so they can get you help that you need. My organization is one. But it doesn't mean that you have to use us, like I say it over and over, because we're not important, you are, so it's wherever makes you comfortable. It might be someone in your community closer to you. Whatever it is, you need to reach out. And you really need to start healing. Whether it's an illness, mental illness, or an addiction, you just need to make that first step. And don't be embarrassed about it, because, like I said, everyone in a lifetime, even without a mental illness or an addiction, has reached out for some kind of help. Because in life, we can't ever do it on our own. There's always something that we need help with. And if we let ourselves feel like, oh, I'm ashamed because I need help, or I'm embarrassed because I need help, you'll never get the help that you need. and you're hurting yourself. We have to really, really stand up for ourselves, show up for ourselves in order to really get the help and become healthy as we want to live. No one wakes up wanting to be an addict. No one wakes up to wanting to deal with some kind of mental illness on a daily basis. And I know a lot of us are dealing with this because of some type of trauma. And the trauma is real, and some of us, we can't deal with the trauma. We continue to store it and store it and store it. And our body just, and our nervous system just comes overwhelmed. And we can't take it anymore. And we fall into these dark circles, we fall into these dark holes, or we start fading away with an addiction. And then I know it's very hard to pull yourself back in, whether it's from a mental illness or from an addiction, and I get it. I hear it all the time from my clients, how hard it is to really get yourself out of it, And it's hard, and I get it, but you have to really try for yourself. And all you have to do is just ask for help. That's the only first step that you have to do, is be willing and open to get help. Once you do that first step and you get the help that you need, after that it's just staying consistent and following your plan. But the first and the most hardest part is asking for the help that you need and finding it where you feel comfortable with your healing, because that's important too. You have to really feel comfortable on who you bring into your circle to get the help that you want, because you're the one that's trying to heal, whether it's from a mental illness or an addiction. You're the one that's trying to heal. So it has to feel right to you. So that's why I said it's really important that you come in tune with yourself and you ask yourself, what is it really that I'm looking for? And what is healing to me? Once you have that down, then you're able to reach out and make that decision on who you want to bring into your journey to help you out with this healing. Because it's important that it starts with you, and it's important that you make your decision on which way you go and who you want to bring into this journey with you, so that you can succeed with it. You can finish it in a healthy way, because healing needs to be healthy. That's very important. Because we can be doing okay for a couple of months, but if we're not doing it the right way, we're not healing in a healthy way, that's when we start falling back on certain things, because we start doubting ourselves again, or we start questioning ourselves again on what we're doing. So you want to make sure that you're healing in a healthy way. And that is the only way you can do that, is healing when you're ready, healing with a community that you want, or healing with an organization that you want. Not that one that someone pushes on you, or not one that someone tells you to go to. It has to be your choice. Because we have to, in order to heal healthy, you have to live at your terms. You have to do things at your terms. Because once you start healing and reaching out for help, you're going to see life in a different way. Life is going to be what you want to make it to be at that time. You're no longer going to be worrying about making anyone else happy or showing up when you really didn't want to show up. You're going to live life at your terms. So it's really important that you make this choice of healing, of recovery, and that you choose the way that you want to get recovered, or you choose your healing path. With that being said, like I said, I always try to put information out on stuff that I know that is going on either in my community that I deal with on a daily basis, one of my clients that might have brought this up to me, or they might have sent me information, and I just try to put it out in my podcast, hoping that someone hears it that is going to benefit from it, or someone that hears it that can help someone else that really needs to hear what I'm talking about, or just needs to shine a light on them with some more information that they can have, to hopefully have them open up and get the help that they want. Because again, like I said, there's boundaries, and we can't cross those boundaries until they're ready to get help, whether it's from mental illness or an addiction. I just want to say thank you to everyone that has been following me, that's really been supporting us with the podcast, with just our services in general. I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really, really appreciate everyone's support. Nothing is too little. Everything is just amazingly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Even if you're across the world and you're just sending me information, I appreciate it. Anything that you can bring onto the light for me that maybe you think someone else can benefit from, please throw it my way. Please send it my way, so I can go ahead and maybe put that information out for someone else. If it helped you, it might help someone else. Share it. Get a hold of me. Like I said, you can go on my website, you'renotalone.online. Get a hold of me. There's tons of ways to get a hold of me, or just DM me on this podcast or on my social media. I'm out there. Just let me know if there's something that you think that you have that we can share and help someone else with. Just let me know, and I'll go ahead and share it on our show so that we can go ahead and help others. And like I said, I know that everyone can't always see my live because of my time. Most of my followers are on the West Coast. But like I said, we're on every major platform. We're on iHeart, Spotify, Audible, FM radio. We're out there. We're just trying to get this information out to as many people as we can, just so that no one is in the dark about it. That hopefully someone that really needs this for themselves or someone else falls into this and really, hopefully just falls in their lap, or they hear it on the radio or something, and they're able to get the help that they need. Our services are all free. We just need you to reach out to us if you need the help. I can't bring the services to you unless you reach out, and we know exactly how to help you and where to meet you on your journey, either for yourself or someone else that you know. Our services, our tools and resources, and our professional services are accessible worldwide. So it doesn't matter where you're at in the world. If you need help, we're going to be able to give it to you no matter where you're sitting at. And if we can't help you, I'm going to find someone that can help you. We will help you on your journey. We're not just going to say, oh no, we can't help you, and just end it there. We're not. Whether we can help you or not, we're going to meet you on your journey, and we're going to follow and support you until you get the help that you need, whether it's with us or someone else. If you do have an organization like I do that's supporting mental illness and addiction, and then you want to come in and collaborate to make this movement even stronger and bigger than what I already have it, please reach out, because it's not about us, it's about them. And we're just trying to get our stuff out there as much as we can, so that they'll know they're not out here alone, that there is an organization, there are people out there that love them, that will support them, that will not give up on them, and that there is help. Regardless of their situation, there is help out there, and it's free. Again, if you want to volunteer your time, no matter where you're at in the world, you can help us out. If you're a licensed therapist, if you're a licensed counselor, or if you're a social worker, licensed social worker, or if you just want to be an advocate and help us out, reach out. We just want to make this movement stronger and bigger and be able to reach a broader view of people. Even though I have my stuff out there worldwide, it's just never enough. No matter how big I make this team, it's never going to be enough, and I get it, and I know it, and I've come a reality to that. It's heartbreaking, because it really is heartbreaking. Because I wish that I can just help everyone in the world that's suffering with mental illness or an addiction, but reality is I can't. Not because of our services, because our services are free and they're available worldwide. It's just that the need is so big. The numbers are just so large that I know I'm not going to be able to get to everyone. And I'm just hoping that I'm able to have someone understand that, or a couple of people understand that, no matter where you're at in the world, and say, okay, yes, I'm licensed, I want to volunteer, I want to help just as much as they do. Let me go ahead and reach out to them to make this movement stronger. Or, I have events all the time in my community. Maybe where you're at across the world, maybe you want to do events on our behalf. Or maybe you want to collaborate our organizations and bring out an event where you're at. Let me know. I'm more than happy to meet you where you're at and just do what you want to do to get this word out, get this information out to as many people as we need to, as many people as we can. Every second we're losing beautiful souls to mental illness. Every second of the day we're losing beautiful souls to an addiction. It's sad, and I know, as we're talking, someone is losing a loved one taking their life to mental illness. As we're talking right now, by the second, someone's losing a loved one to an addiction, OD, coma, or just fatally just gone. And I know, unfortunately, that's something that is going to continue to happen every second. And I just really, really want to. The reason for this podcast, the reason for my organization, is to hopefully just put a dent in those numbers and just pause. And just really get this information out there as much as I can worldwide, because my services are available worldwide. Get this information out there and let these individuals know there is someone out there that cares, there is someone out there that's going to support you, there is help out there. We just need you to reach out, and that's why we have our toll-free number. They might not have a phone or a way to do it, but they'll have a toll-free number they can call from anywhere. And that's why we had the live chats and the open information on our website that they can just email us or get on the live chat on our website if you don't have a phone but you have internet, a way to get on the internet somewhere in your community. Get on that internet, get on our website and just send us a message, live chat. We've made it possible so that anyone and everyone anywhere can really reach out to us regardless of their circumstance. Some of them, like I said, might not have a phone. They might not even have a home or somewhere to lay their head at. But if they can find a place with internet, they're going to be able to reach us. And I just thought that was very important that I did it that way, because I want to make sure that there's no barriers or nothing stopping these individuals from being able to reach out and get the help that they need. And that's why I'm asking, if your heart is where mine is at, and you want to volunteer and make this movement even stronger than what I have it running now, reach out to me. Let's do this. We can make it happen. It's not going to go away. It's not going to change, but we can definitely make changes. We really can. We come together and make this movement even stronger. We can make the changes. With that being said, I just want to say thank you again for everyone that's listening to me on my podcast, taking out their time from their busy day to really listen to my episodes, sharing my information, because I see you. Believe me, I see you. And I want to say thank you for sharing my information out there, whether it's on social media, whether it's in your community. People are coming back to us. They're telling us, I'm seeing you on social media. Thank you so much. And I'm seeing those numbers on FM radio, iHeartRadio, Spotify, everything. I'm seeing those numbers. Thank you so much for your support, because without you, I can't do this. Without you, I can't make this possible in a stronger way and in a bigger way. And I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. You're really important to me. You really mean something to me. And I just want to say thank you. I really just want to say I hope to see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. Hopefully I can do my yoga. I know I've been saying that a couple of days. The weather hasn't been on our side. We are having sunshine today. My team has been scattered in so many different events and situations that I haven't really been able to have someone here at my location to really get things set up for me. But I'm hoping that my team member is here today to get me set up for this yoga tonight, and I can get out there and just do some reset. And it's just really what I do is I do meditation and a little restoration of your body, just helping you bring your nervous system down and relax from an overwhelmed day. Just get you ready for the rest of the day or for the night. Nothing where you have to know exactly what you're doing with yoga or meditation. Just follow your body. That's all I do for maybe 30 or 45 minutes. And I want to close off with my statement. It's okay. And please listen to this. Rewind this if you really need to. It's okay to not be okay. Please understand that, because it is. It's okay to not be okay. We're not perfect. We're human beings. But what's not okay, and that's for no one, and I mean no one, to ever struggle in silence in the dark. There is help out there. There are people out there that will support you, that will follow you, walk with you on this journey and get you where you need to get to. Just please reach out, make the first step. And if it's not you, but you know someone that needs this support, please support them, help them out, give them a hand, give them that chance. Everyone deserves multiple chances in their life, not just one or two, but as many as they need to really get them where they need to get to in life. Again, thank you. I love you. Thank you for everything, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care until then. Bye.